John Mair, former BBC producer, joins us. We've spoken a lot about BBC Trust, John, and good afternoon to you, by the way.
Hello, Ian, again.
Does this kind of, in some respects, it sort of feeds back into the have the BBC been slow on the uptake and not particularly transparent department?
Absolutely, absolutely on this one. They've been chasing the story. The narrative has gone way away from them. You know, the BBC if the BBC is anything, it should be transparent. I have to say that the BBC News people, the network news people, have been very good at doing this story. You know, kudos to them. But the BBC as an institution has been poor. I very occasionally advised Tim Davie, and I wrote him a note this morning. Said, Tim, have a press conference, get it all out in the open, will you? You know, this is nonsense. You shouldn't be issuing statements and internal memos and internal emails. Get it out in the open. And what about the investigation? What do they need to investigate? They've had 7 weeks. There's a boy, his mother, the presenter, who we can't name, and that's it. What else do they need to investigate?
Well, I think most of us would think pretty much the same. And I know it's a controversial area. There is potential criminality depending on age and what was sent at what time. So that becomes, you know, a whole different area of discussion. And then even if there is no actual criminality, this is clearly a terrible look for the unnamed presenter, and one would naturally assume they won't be working again after this. But even allowing for all of that, and of course the unnamed presenter has the right to a defence as well, so I get that.
Innocent until proven guilty.
All of that. But given the nature of this, and given the, you know, how the BBC have sort of been there before when it comes to, you know, speeding things up and having a swift response, you might have thought that they'd have learnt a little quicker on this and have been straight out of the traps with a response.
Absolutely, Ian. You know, there's a BBC crisis every month. This is actually, I disagree with my former editor, Roger, but I think this is actually a big BBC crisis. And I think, you know, they should be setting the narrative, not the other way around. You know, it's not the Sun that should make the agenda. It should be the BBC. It's their story. Yeah. So they learn. You know, their crisis management on this has been poor, absolutely poor. You don't manage a crisis by the odd statement, the odd press release. You manage it by fronting up. Yeah. Be transparent.
Yeah, and kind of leading the way rather than following, and they should have clearly done that. Do you sense that this person's name has to come out now?
Like night follows day, and I'm hearing that the person may actually name himself. He may self out.
Wow.
In which case, you know, all bets are off. You know, like night follows. Come on, it's all over social media. Of course, it's we're opening people to defamation and to various other things. But you know, of course, it will come out. But you know, the BBC should be taking the lead. They should be saying, look, this is what happened. This is what we did. This is the chronology, and this is what we're going to do, which is an important thing.